Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Dance Dish, where the dance ends and the dish begins. My name is Pussy Control, and I'm your guest host for today. And I would like to welcome our live audience. Today, we're gonna get a bit of dance history. All three of our guests paved the path for dancers, choreographers, and stars to live. Now, let's meet them all. Please give it up for the legendary Tony Selznick. The legendary Julie McDonald. And the legendary Billy Goodson. Yes. Billy is gonna share with us a little Moulin Rouge story, and I can't wait to hear. Bring it.
Moulin Rouge. I must say, I've spent the past 35 years on and off in Europe. And in 1987, I got called to France to choreograph the Moulin Rouge. What happens at the Moulin Rouge is I choreographed the show, and back then they used to do galas. And galas, the guests were usually princes and princesses from all over Europe and stars. And it was a big deal. It was an international moment. And in this particular gala for my show, which is called Formidable, it was an international cast, but the biggest names and the biggest stars were all American, and they were all stars that we grew up with, being Hollywood. Right. And so the youngest was Savion Glover, had just kind of blown up. Greg Louganis had just become kind of a star swimmer. And then we jumped to Jane Russell, Lauren Bacall, Anita Baker, finishing off with Jerry Lewis, Ray Charles, and Ella Fitzgerald. But I remember at one point in the afternoon, because I sat through the whole day of rehearsal, just because when are you ever going to be in a room with these people? And at one point, Lauren Bacall, I think she thought maybe I was a waiter or something. And so she turns to me and she says, "Darling, can you get me some water?" And I was like, "Yes, Miss Bacall, yes." So I rushed back to the kitchen and I asked for some water for one of the guests. And the people working there were like, "Monsieur Billy, you don't have to take water to Madame Bacall, that's our job." I was like, "No, I'm taking Miss Bacall her water, dear." So I took her back her water, and it was a little moment that was just precious to look into her eyes and have her say thank you. So sweet of you, you know. Friggin' Lauren Bacall, you know. I felt like Humphrey Bogart for a minute. And sat through the whole rehearsal. Ray Charles and Ella Fitzgerald closed the show. I was in heaven. But my real moment was, I was asked to choreograph a number for Donald O'Connor, who was one of the mega guests. If you don't know who Donald O'Connor is, check out Bandwagon, Make 'Em Laugh, Singing in the Rain.
I did Out to Sea with him and Walter Matthau.
Yes.
I was like,
Fred Astaire and Donald O'Connor were my favorites. They were my all-time, because you had class and then you had comedy mixed with athleticism and technique. Great actor. There's a rather famous picture of us on stage with him, and he looked at me and he was like, "What do you have planned?" and I was like, "Well, I think we should maybe stick with tap." He was like, "That sounds good to me."
Good plan.
And I told him, I said, maybe you have something that you would like to do. It's not like I'm going to teach you a tap combination. So he was like, perfect, because I put something together. I said, well, I brought 12 girls that do tap, and then there's another 20 to frame the moment.
Right.
And so we put together the number and I staged it. But this photo is him tapping with myself looking at his feet, and all the girls are looking at his feet like it's the Bible. What was coming out was music, was magic, was all of those years of growing up seeing those movies that we all grew up with. And so the number happens that night of the gala, and the girls are beautiful, he's fantastic, the number's ending, and I think it's like he has 18 girls to one side and 18 girls to the other side. He looks to his right, and all of these girls blow him a kiss. He looks to his left, they all blow him a kiss. And then he crosses his arms and looks out at the audience. At that moment, I happened to glance down at his wife, who was sitting in the audience. I was in the wings. She was in tears and looked at me in the wings.
Oh.
So after a career like his, to have a number where there was beauty, but there was also respect and props, and that he is such a part of our legacy. Everything that we do is thanks to them. To have that moment in my heart, this young man from LA, was golden. He'll stay with me forever.
That deserves a toast.
That deserves a toast.
I think that deserves a toast. Here is to getting to work with the legend.
Hey,
That's it. That's
there
it.
you go.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Cheers.
And here's cheers,
Here's
to
to
Dance Dish.
Dance dish.
Dance dish.
Dance Dish.